Welcome to this week's episode of Rating Men I've Dated with Charles Burns. I'm your host, Charles Burns. This week we had an exciting episode. We are rating the Australian MFA student from before Trump was elected. So it was like right before Trump was elected. So good times all around. I'm going to be rating this Australian MFA student on the next 7 things. We're going to rate them on lover points, romance points, handsomeness points, helpfulness points, stability points, faithfulness points, and finally ending points. That's how well it ended. Boop, 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 boop. Let's get going. I dated this person right after I had gotten out of like a long-term relationship. And then I went through a phase where I was like dating a lot. I had a fun summer where I was dating a lot. And then I met this person. I was still just dating a lot. So I wasn't looking for anything serious. So I would say that I would rate the seriousness of this relationship as we both wanted different things. Yeah, I never really was sure what this person wanted. As far as lover points go, I didn't really trust them, so they could never be the good lover, because all my best lovers I trust a lot. So, but I had fun with them. I just remember they kind of made fun of how I got touched. They were one time like said like I feel it more than other people, or I like made more noises or something, and I was like, okay, well, just how I do it. You don't need to make me feel weird about it. So it'll be a 5.6 overall, pretty good, but 5.6 overall. I think they had a different idea of what was romantic than I did. I thought romance was this direction. They thought romance was this direction, and so we were going opposite ways. Like I would try to do something romantic, it would not be seen as romantic. They would try to do something romantic, it would not be seen as romantic for me. So as far as romance goes, we were missing each other. It was about a 3.2 always. This man was tall, but not handsome. And I think anyone who's ever tried to date men in Brooklyn will know what I'm talking about. That's for you. Tall, not handsome. Right? So as helpfulness goes, he was an artist with an MFA. First people to ever really engage with my art with me on a serious level. And so he's very helpful in that way. So I'll give him a 6.3. Thank you, Australian MFA student. You're going to be a great professor one day. For stability goes, he was stable. He lived in a commune. He was doing a lot of cool things. So his stability was about a 4.2, I'd say. Yeah. Not quite there enough to be honest with me, but enough to have all his cards in order, if that makes sense. As faithfulness goes, he showed me a schedule once where he had my name one day and then another person's name the next day. I went under where it said free time. And I asked him, I was like, what's that? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm dating multiple people. But he didn't ever give me anything without me asking. Like, so it wasn't really being, I feel like faithfulness is when like you have the ability to be honest with whoever you're in a relationship with. And I don't think he was actually able to be honest, but he was trying. So I don't know. There have been people who really tried to pull the wool over my eyes, and at least he was trying to show me in his own awkward way. So I'll say 3.7, which is again, probably me being a bit too generous here, but 3.7. It ended in the most awkward way. I was at the park with some friends. We were sitting on a hill. Behind the hill, there was a grove of trees, right? And I was sitting there, and I just got up to like stretch. We were having a picnic, and I looked behind me, and at the bottom of one of the trees behind the hill is my lover, the Australian MFA student, making out passionately with a very short woman. Like they're just making out at the bottom of the tree, like very into it. And I laughed because a million things ran through my head, but mostly like this is an awkward position to be in. And I laughed, and then I sat down, looked the other direction because I didn't want to interrupt someone's makeout session. And I think I laughed that they heard me because a few minutes later when I looked around, when I collected myself, they were gone. But there was a big path. There was only one path to get out of the park, and you had to go around. It was in front of the hill we were in. And so I did see them like holding hands, like walk down that path. And then I never, ever heard from again. So not the best ending, but also just kind of like a cowardly ending. Like you could have just been like, oh, hey, like this other person you saw me at the park, I like kissing them more than you. But again, it never got said. Just a lot of like ghosting in my life has happened. So the ending was a 2.2, I would say. So if we add up all the scores together, boom, 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 we would get a total of 29.4. Not too bad. Would I recommend dating this guy? Not really, but he was not my cup of tea. He might be someone else's. This guy, just we rubbed each other the wrong way. Not in a bad way, just in like a we were never going to be long-term lovers kind of way. Yeah. And that is the Australian MFA student. Join me next week when I rate another dude, or possibly two dudes. I think I'm going to rate this house of men I dated in Brooklyn, because I kind of have to rate the house together, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. I tried to date the whole house. Thank God one guy said no, but I did get the other two in. So I'm going to tell you that story next week. Once again, thanks for participating in this art project. You rock.